Hello, everybody. Good morning. This is Dave Neal, stand-up comedian and host of Bachelor Recap. Hi, guys, for View. Good to see all you guys. Happy Friday out there. As you can see by the thumbnail I have right here, we have a video we're going to play by Dr. Kirk Honda of the Psychology in Seattle YouTube channel regarding Taylor Nolan and the recent events. And I wanted to share, a lot of you guys know who this is, but some may not. And that's why we're going to be playing the video on my channel. I think everyone should go give him a listen and a subscribe and hear what he has to say. This is from his bio page. Welcome to Psychology in Seattle, a podcast and YouTube channel that is both entertaining and educational. The host, Dr. Kirk, is a professor and therapist. And then in tiny print, it says Dr. Kirk Honda has a doctorate in psychology, a master's in marriage and family therapy, and has been working as a therapist with individuals, couples, and families since 1996. Okay, so a little bit more professional than me, some no-name comedian in a little apartment over here in Los Angeles. All right, because I have a business degree. What do I know? You don't learn anything with a business degree. I can't even do my taxes right. All right, looking at you, IRS. Leave me alone. Is this a deductible? Okay. Anyway, folks, let's play what he has to say. It's a long clip. We might not play the whole thing, but I do encourage you to go over to Psychology in Seattle's YouTube channel. He's got a very soothing voice, the way he explains everything. It's nice to just hear from a professional. We're all entitled to our opinions, and I think everyone's entitled to finding a platform to share their opinions, but some people's opinions, they just mean more. He's got a degree. He knows what he's talking about. So take what he has to say with greater equity than what I have to say, okay? So this is regarding Taylor Nolan and all of the mean-spirited, racist, fatphobic, all the different tweets that came out that she has apologized for, and I believe still has left up. And she is, of course, I believe a practicing therapist. I could be wrong about what her actual title is, but she's been known to, in recent years, to be doing a lot of good work for progressive movements and equality, and which probably hits hard to a lot of people because it's like finding out Santa Claus isn't real when you look up to somebody and you think they are your purveyor of morality or whatever, and then all of a sudden you find out, oh, they're actually a piece of crap just like the rest of us. Let's see what Dr. Kirk has to say about all of this.
Many of you have asked that I speak about the recent event in the news regarding an individual who allegedly posted some harmful statements online. According to my ethical codes, I cannot speak directly about these events. There are confidentiality considerations, etc. However, I can speak generally about oppression, internalized oppression, and redemption. The first thing I want to talk about is the pain that this just causes, so much pain. When people post things online, or it's revealed that they used to post things online that were very racist or ableist or fat-shaming or heterosexist, it's painful. It's oppressive. It's bigoted. It's prejudiced. It's stereotyping. It's dehumanizing. It feels awful, and it hurts all of us. It hurts me throughout my life. I've been called all the names. And trigger warning for this whole talk, by the way, but particularly now. I've been called a gook, a nip, a Jap, a Chinaman, a zipperhead. Recently, in Seattle, I was called a chink by a young white woman in Ballard. If you're not familiar, Ballard, Seattle, is a suburb is a part of Seattle. And it's considered to be a nice part of town with nice people. And this woman ran up to me for pretty much no reason. We came to the stop sign at the exact same time. It was a four-way stop, and I thought I got there before she did. I thought I had, and so I just pulled ahead. Again, it was just four-way stop. It wasn't like I, cut her off of the road. We both came to a full stop, and I went, and she pulled up behind me, got out of her car, and was yelling at me about going first and called me a chink. This wasn't that long ago. It's one thing to be yelled at. It's another thing to be called a racial slur like that. And so it's still around, and it hurts. It hurts me. It hurts all of us. I'm guessing a lot of you have experienced similar things. Comment below about what you've experienced so we can all support each other. And it's not just by white people. It often is, but it's not just by white people. People of color will attack me as well. I've been called these names by mostly white people, but also non-white people. Specifically, some people of color will say that I am not a person of color, which is news to me. I mean, you might not see me as a person of color, but racists sure do see me as a person of color. I mean, for a white woman to run out to my car and without us interacting at all and without me telling her about my heritage, she just looks at my face and calls me a chink. I don't think that qualifies as me being a fully white person. I'm half white, but I'm certainly not entirely white, particularly to the racists. And it hurts. It's painful. It gets under my skin. It makes me feel unworthy. It makes me feel subhuman. It's bothersome. It's painful. It runs deep, and I don't just feel the pain of myself, but I feel the pain of my father and his siblings and my grandparents and my great-grandparents. My Japanese family goes back 120 plus years, and the racism that they've experienced it's I feel it, and I cry about it. It's awful. So it's also disappointing, when a celebrity does something like this or a friend does something like this. It's just disappointing to see someone. For me, it's just, and I'm guessing it's disappointing for you too, to just see like, come on, just why would you do that? It's also demoralizing. For me, it's demoralizing, racism, heterosexism, fat shaming. It's demoralizing, but it's particularly demoralizing when I see young people doing it. I have such faith in the younger generations to be better than us, and to see young people doing it, it makes sense, but it's demoralizing because then you think, well, all the work we've done, has it accomplished nothing? And you see middle school kids beating each other up for all the things that we hoped they would be beyond. And not all, middle schoolers, hashtag not all middle schoolers. Even people of color, young people of color who are being racist and fat shaming and heterosexist. And even friends and colleagues of mine, when I see that sort of thing, I've seen all sorts of things, even among my fellow therapists at work. I won't go into it, but currently, I've been seeing things independent of what's been in the news recently. It's just really painful, and it's upsetting, and it makes me feel unsafe, and it makes me wonder if I can trust those around me. So, yeah, that's my first reaction, is just the pain. Second reaction is, of course, the topic of oppression and dehumanization in general. It's a constant part of our society. Racism, for one, against black people, against Asian Americans, against many groups of people. Heterosexism, fat shaming, calling people names, using harmful stereotypes. It's a huge part of our society. It's been going on for centuries. It's a part of and a justification of our power structure. It is there, and it will be here for a long time. And we are not the only society with these problems. From anecdotal experience, this is something that is almost universal around the world to varying degrees and various different, it's just a matter of the flavor and the intensity of a society's oppression towards groups of people. Okay, so now let's go on to the topic of internalized racism. We take, or internalized oppression in general, we take in these messages from parents, from society, from friends, from systems of power, from TV, from movies, from history, from politics, from schools, etc. It's just a constant barrage of messaging that these people are normal and okay and good, and these people are not. And we internalize these messages, we believe them to be true, and then we become oppressive to the self. The message starts from the outside. You're wrong for being Asian. You're wrong for being a different body size. You're wrong for being gay. You're wrong for being trans. And at first it hurts and you're like, ouch. But then eventually you get beat down in your psyche, and eventually, not always, but you internalize this. And now the voice is now yours. Now you are the one telling yourself that there's something wrong with you. For example, when I was a kid, I remember this very distinctly. I would sit in front of the TV and I would try to make my nose more pointier, like a white person's nose. Why did I do that? Did someone say that my nose was wrong? Maybe, but why was I sitting alone? No one was saying, you need to have a different nose. I was doing this to myself. Why was I doing that? Because of the constant messages that there was something wrong with me. It makes me want to cry just thinking about my 8-year-old self, just why, I just want to go to him and be like, dude, don't worry about it. That's you're good. You're normal. You're okay. Don't believe the hype. But I would sit there in front of the TV, and I remember, I don't know how long, but I was hoping that if I held it and made it look like a white person's nose, that it would stay in a white person, like the whole thing your mom always, don't cross your eyes because your eyes will stay like that. I believed like if you form your face into a particular way, then I would no longer look Asian. I would be white, and I would be acceptable, and I could relax. Where did I get that from? I got it from society. I got it from school. I got it from my surroundings. I got it from TV. And then it became a part of me, and I was doing it to myself. And it didn't just, stop with me trying to make my nose different. It was pervasive. I knew there was something deeply wrong with me because I was not fully white. So what do we do with all this self-hatred? Well, I was talking with my friend and colleague Jane Shamoun at Antioch last night, and he was talking about we use projection, which is a brilliant notion, well-documented defense, not only in psychoanalysis, but also in the field of oppression, internalized oppression. So when we hate ourselves, it's hard to deal with that, right? Because there's this pain of like, there's tension. And we hate something about ourselves. There's something about us that we hate. We wish we're different. We shame now because people shamed us, and we're shaming the self. And so if we find someone else to shame and we project it onto them, then it's externalized and we relax a little bit. We project the shamefulness onto another human being, and then we attack them, and we're like, it's you, it's not me, it's you. You are the shameful, horrible human being, not me. And it's distracting from the self. So when you are in this oppressed group, you have a lot of different choices available to you in terms of how to deal with this internalized oppression. And when you're young in particular, you don't necessarily have guidance or mentors to help you with it. So you have to figure it out on your own, potentially. And one of the ways that people will deal with this is to project. So they will find someone else, some other oppressed group, and even though they are the oppressed group, but they're struggling with this internalized oppression, they will find another oppressed group, attack it, and they can relax a little bit. There's also an effort along these lines to gain acceptance from the oppressors. It is essentially a message of, look, I'm like you. I'm oppressing. I'm like you. I am not the oppressor. There's the oppressed, which is not me, because I'm oppressing. Look at me. I'm oppressing someone. Will you accept me now? Power structure. So that's another reason. It's a well-known phenomena.
Very interesting. Very, very interesting. If you're upset that I'm pausing it right there, I understand, and I will post a link to this video. It's at 11 minutes and 42 seconds. It is not my goal to just rip off somebody's entire video, but I wanted to talk about this. Initially, I was going to break it up into several points, but in order to get to where we just got, you need to hear context from this beautiful man as he so kindly and succinctly explains where he came from with his feelings of oppression, with his feelings of growing up, wishing he was like something that he wasn't, and looking at Taylor Nolan. And as he said, he is a mentor of Taylor Nolan. He doesn't use her by name. It is very obvious who we're talking about here. That is I think a respect for his, or confidentiality with being a therapist, that he doesn't mention names here. But this is very fascinating in what is so important in society, what is so important in our culture, in our family, in our friend group, is that we hear each other's journey, and that we hear each other's just identity, where they come from, what their fears are. Because no one wants to have an 8-year-old kid or think of themselves as an 8-year-old kid going through such heavy thoughts. I imagine my brother. I've got a brother who's a lot younger than me. So he was born when I was 18. Shout out to Jack. So sometimes, even yesterday, I was thinking about I how much I regret treating him in a way that wasn't what his brain capacity could handle. And this isn't a racing, obviously. He's even whiter than I am. But like I remember as an 18-year-old or even as a 20-year-old when he was just growing up as a little baby, I remember being like, was I a good brother? Just in ways where I wanted the best for him, but I wonder if I was messing that up. I can't imagine being a parent wondering if you're messing your kid up, trying to do the right thing. God knows our whole adult lives are just trying to untangle whatever baloney our parents gave to us. So I'm starting to get to that age where I'm wondering, like, what sort of impression do I have on the people that mean a lot to me? Now, I can't relate to the issues. I put it this way. I've talked to my buddy King Hassan a bunch on the show. He's called in a bunch because he follows The Bachelor, and he's a good guy to talk to. And he's a black guy, and we've talked about the fact that if I get in a road rage incident with somebody, I have the luxury of that road rage of just thinking that person's an asshole. Whereas if someone like him gets in a road rage incident with somebody, he might think that person's racist. I don't have to wonder if someone's being racist against me. That's just not been part of my things I worry about. And for someone like Dr. Kirk to talk about not even feeling when a stranger comes up to him and calls him names that they don't even know that this is they don't know anything about him, and yet they've paraphrased him in a second. And how demeaning would that be for someone to assume something about you? I can't even begin to relate it. Some of the comments I get from people that will like fill in the blanks of my opinions really irk me. It really irks me when people comment and make assumptions about what I'm trying to say. And again, this is not a modicum of an issue compared to some other people and what they deal with. So I can't even imagine how infuriating it would be to have people just paraphrase your life essence because of their own internalized oppression. So what he mentions about Taylor is very interesting because look, we can agree all day long what Taylor Nolan tweeted was horrendous. The question is why? And I think in society, especially with the culture called cancel, the culture nobody wants to talk about called cancel, because when you say cancel culture, a lot of people go, oh, there's no such thing as cancel culture. Oh, cancel culture is killing. Everyone takes a very unique side to it. But the truth is that we're so often not worrying about the cause and effect. We're just looking at the effect. So you can cancel Taylor Nolan all you want. You can put her up against a board to get rid of her license, whatever the case may be. But I like to know what makes that. I like to know what's underneath the hood. And with someone like Dr. Kirk so clearly explaining it, it doesn't make it right, but at least you can see why the engine failed. At least you can go, oh, I didn't put enough oil in the engine. I shouldn't have driven, down the beach. I got sand in the exhaust, whatever the case may be. So for me, it's important to be the guy who sort of, at least not, if I can't deconstruct something, at least find out who can and go, oh, interesting. So you're talking about your own internalized oppression. One way to release that impression, maybe gain a little bit of control over it, is to project it to another oppressed group. It's almost like what you see bullies were just the kids who got bullied. Racist come from racist parents. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. So an internalized oppression technique for some people is to gain acceptance from their oppressors. Kind of like a Stockholm syndrome in a way. It's very fascinating stuff. I'm going to put a link to his video. I know most people probably already follow him. He's got a way bigger following than I do. But what's very interesting, and this isn't a shout out to me.
Hey, deserving listeners, welcome to our...
Sorry about that. This isn't a shout out to me. This is a shout out to you guys. My channel's got 22,000 subscribers. He's got 212,000 subscribers. But because of how encouraging you guys have all been, look at the stats there. We were both about head to head on the same amount of views this month. And I just say that because I want the people that are following my channel who might not have heard of his to go over there and give it a chance, because all these conversations we're having, and I know people, I hate nothing more than when people go, I thought you were a comedian, talk about comedy things. Okay, I'm going to make a video about Dale's feet later. Trust me, it's coming. I know I've been teasing it for a while. I know I've been tickling the toes of Dale's feet for a while. We're going to talk about some fun issues, but you can't get to that without addressing these types of things in the community. So it's very fascinating stuff. I know I say that about a lot of things. Very fascinating stuff. We all have self-hatred in different ways. So the question is, do we have self-hatred, you and I, in a way that is doing harm to others? I know I've had an issue with money my whole life. I've had an issue with not feeling like I'm worthy enough, or like not having enough. I've spent a long part of my adult life sort of like working on my stand-up comedy career, juggling side jobs, and I've been known to judge people with money in a way that I'm just projecting onto them what I wish I had for myself. And when you learn that, you learn I've got all these limiting beliefs, and it's probably, rather than, in the moment, it might ease up whatever tension I feel because I'm like throwing it on others. But the truth is, I'm just like setting up limitations that are preventing me from accepting wealth into my life. And in a situation like this, by projecting hate onto others, you're just bringing hate back to yourself. Now, it looks like Taylor Nolan, in some reasons, may have overcome a lot of that internalized hate, but in a lot of ways, maybe not, because as we saw her apology or lack thereof, it seems like there's a lot of defensiveness happening. So I'm really not too sure. I will say this. Thank you so much for watching this video. Later today, today's Friday, March 5th or 6th. What is it? The 5th, March 5th, Friday, March 5th. Around 3 p.m. today, I am going to be making a Patreon video talking about a lot of the behind the scenes things going on with my YouTube channel, just things I can't really share with any videos right here. Super personal stuff. We have a very small community. If you want to go check that out, it's a membership community. I'll put a link in the description. No problem if it's not for you, but if it's a big payday on a Friday and you want to go hear about my new stats, if you want to hear about kind of all the explosion that's happening behind the scenes with the channel, I'm going to be sharing that kind of open book with my community. Some people like that stuff. Some people like to see the algorithm and all that stuff. I just showed you a little teaser right here, but it's been pretty incredible. The other thing I'm going to be doing today is a voicemail. So I left my voicemail number up right here. I'm going to be playing voicemails. It's something I don't do every day, but I've started to do more of this because I'm getting voicemails from all over the world, really. From Pakistan to Finland to Nova Scotia and South Africa, Australia. You guys, it's been incredible. A lot of people from Arkansas. Oh, what's up, Arkansas? I'm seeing you. So if anyone wants to call in, the general theme I want for today's voicemail to be is kindness. So if you could just share some form of kindness with me, you can say something critical, say anything within the Bachelor Nation, within the community, but I really do want to end this week strong with a message of kindness, because that's what solves a lot of our issues. Understanding we might not have all the answers, but we're willing to listen to others and share empathy. And while we can't always walk in somebody else's shoes, we can very much try to hear them out and understand that people that come from different places than we do, people that come from a different skin color, a different walk of life than we do, sometimes they have a lot to teach us about what we know and don't know. So anyway, folks, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you later on. We got 3 or 4 videos coming today. It's going to be a busy one. Thanks, guys.